Hello everyone, my name's Iman. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss colligative properties. Colligative properties are physical properties of solutions that depend only on how many solute particles are present in a given amount of solvent. They do not depend on the chemical identity of those particles. These effects happen because solute particles interfere with the way solvent molecules interact. The four main colligative properties are vapor pressure lowering, boiling point elevation, freezing point depression, and osmotic pressure. Let's begin with discussing vapor pressure lowering and Raoult's law. To understand this, think first about a pure solvent. At the surface of the liquid, some molecules have enough energy to escape into the gas phase, and at a given temperature, that solvent has a definite vapor pressure. Now imagine dissolving a solute into the liquid. Some of the surface is now going to be occupied by solute particles. That means fewer solvent molecules are available at the surface to escape into the gas phase, so the vapor pressure decreases. This is the microscopic picture that I want you to keep in mind. Now, Raoult's law expresses this idea in a very simple way. For a volatile component A, the vapor pressure of A above the solution equals its mole fraction in the liquid multiplied by the vapor pressure of pure A at the same temperature. Now, when you're applying this law, there are two common cases to consider. The first is when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a volatile solvent. In that case, only the solvent contributes to the vapor pressure because the solute does not evaporate. The vapor pressure of the solution is simply the mole fraction of the solvent multiplied by the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. As the concentration of solute increases, the mole fraction of solvent decreases and the vapor pressure drops. The second case is when both components of the solution are volatile. In this case, each component is going to contribute to the total vapor pressure, and the total is the sum of their partial pressures. So each partial pressure is going to be proportional to the component's mole fraction multiplied by its pure vapor pressure. All right, and then the total pressure is going to be the sum of the partial pressures. This situation is an application of both Raoult's law and Dalton's law of partial pressure, which we covered in General Chemistry 1. Now, Raoult's law works best for what we call an ideal solution. An ideal solution is one where the interactions between unlike molecules are similar in strength to those between like molecules, and there is no significant heat or volume change when the components are mixed together. But in practice, not all solutions behave ideally. Some are going to show positive deviation from Raoult's law, where the vapor pressure is higher than expected. This happens when the interactions between different components are weaker than the interactions in the pure liquids, so molecules escape more easily. Others are going to show a negative deviation from Raoult's law, where the vapor pressure is lower than predicted. This is going to happen when the interactions between unlike molecules are stronger, so molecules are held back more tightly. As a final note, it's important to keep the broader consequences in view. Lowering the vapor pressure means you have to heat the solution to a higher temperature to reach a vapor pressure that's equal to the external pressure, which gives us a boiling point elevation. Lowering the vapor pressure also stabilizes the liquid relative to the solid, which contributes to freezing point depression. Boiling point elevation and freezing point depression are the next two colligative properties that we're going to discuss. But first, we're going to tackle a practice problem. This problem says at 40 degrees Celsius, the vapor pressure of water is 55 torr, and the vapor pressure of isopropyl alcohol is 100 torr. What would the vapor pressure be if 0.3 moles of water are mixed with 14.2 moles of isopropyl alcohol? This is a two volatile component problem, and we know this because both substances have a vapor pressure. So we're going to use Raoult's law for each component and then add the partial pressures to get the total pressure. Our two components are water and isopropyl alcohol. Let's start with water. We are given the pure vapor pressure of water at 40 degrees Celsius, and that is equal to 55 torr. To get water's partial pressure above the solution, we're going to multiply that pure value by water's mole fraction in the liquid. Now, we do not have the mole fraction directly, so we have to calculate it. The mole fraction of water is going to be the total moles of water, which is 0.3, divided by the total number of moles in solution. That is going to be 0.3 plus 14.2, and that is equal to 14.5 moles. Now, we're going to take 0.3, divide by 14.5 moles, and that is equal to 0.02069. We're going to take this value and then multiply it by 55 torr to get 1.14 torr. Next, we're going to do the same thing for isopropyl alcohol. We are given the pure vapor pressure of isopropyl alcohol at 40 degrees Celsius, which is 100 torr. To get isopropyl alcohol's partial pressure above the solution, we multiply that pure value by the mole fraction of isopropyl alcohol. The mole fraction of isopropyl alcohol is 14.2 divided by 14.5, and that equals 0.97931. We're going to take this value, we're going to multiply it by 100 torr to get 97.931. Finally, to get the total vapor pressure, we're going to sum 1.14 torr and 97.93 torr, which equals to 99.07 torr. And with that, we've completed this practice problem. Let's go ahead and move into boiling point elevation. This is our second colligative property. When the vapor pressure of a solution is lowered by adding a solute, you're going to have to heat the liquid to a higher temperature to make its vapor pressure equal the external pressure. And this is going to raise the boiling point. The change in boiling point is given by an equation that includes the Van Hoff factor, the constant Kb, and the molality of the solution. The Van Hoff factor is written as I, and this represents the number of particles that a solute produces when it dissolves. Kb is a constant. You're usually going to be given that in this course. And then lowercase m is molality. This is the number of moles of solute per kilogram of solvent. And the new boiling point is going to be equal to the boiling point of the pure solvent plus this elevation, delta Tb, that we calculate using this equation. This equation says delta Tb is equal to I multiplied by Kb multiplied by m. A common example of boiling point elevation is adding salt to water. The effect is small in cooking, but it's measurable, and it comes from the number of dissolved particles, not their chemical type, hence colligative property. The next colligative property we want to discuss is freezing point depression. When a solute is added to a solvent, it's going to interfere with the ability of the solvent molecules to organize into a solid crystal. As a result, the liquid remains stable over a lower temperature range, and the freezing point drops. The amount of freezing point depression, delta Tf, is given by the Van Hoff factor multiplied by the freezing point constant, Kf, multiplied by molality. Then, the new freezing point is just the pure solvent freezing point minus this value delta TF that you calculate. This explains why salt is used on icy roads. The salt lowers the freezing point so that ice melts at temperatures where pure water would remain solid. Finally, we have osmotic pressure. Osmosis is the flow of solvent molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from a region of lower solute concentration to a region of higher solute concentration. Osmotic pressure is the pressure you would need to apply to stop that net flow of solvent. The osmotic pressure of a solution depends on the concentration of dissolved particles, I, the temperature, T, and the gas constant, R. And this property is especially important in biology. It explains how cells regulate water and nutrient flow. In a hypertonic solution, where the outside has a higher concentration of solute, water is going to leave the cell and the cell shrinks. In a hypotonic solution, where the outside actually has a lower solute concentration, water enters the cell and the cell swells. In an isotonic solution, the concentrations are equal and there is no net flow. Now, osmotic pressure explains why a freshwater fish cannot survive in seawater. The seawater is a hypertonic relative to the fish's internal fluids, so water leaves the fish's tissues and the fish dehydrates. Finally, coming back to the Van Hoff factor, because I really want to discuss this further, it's an important thing to be able to calculate before you plug into any of the equations we just covered. The Van Hoff factor counts how many pieces a formula unit produces when it dissolves. For covalent solutes that do not dissociate, like sugar, I is equal to 1. For ionic solutes that dissociate completely, I is equal to the number of ions per formula unit. So for example, sodium chloride, NaCl, it dissociates into 2 ions, sodium cation, chloride anion, so I is 2. Calcium chloride, that's going to dissociate into 3 ions, CaCl2. So when it breaks down, or when it gets dissolved, it produces 3 ions, so I is 3. In real solutions, the effective value of I can be a little less than the ideal whole number because of something called ion pairing, but we're not going to get into that in a Gen Chem 2 class. Just a little fun fact. Now, keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and tackle a couple of practice problems together. This first problem says, which of the following is not related to colligative properties? First, I want you to keep in mind that colligative properties are physical properties of solutions that depend on how many solute particles are present in a given amount of solvent and not on the chemical identity of those particles. The key colligative properties include vapor pressure lowering, boiling point elevation, freezing point depression, and osmotic pressure. Now let's work through each answer choice. A says mixing water and antifreeze to improve radiator fluid's freezing/boiling point. That is describing a colligative property. So that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's not related to colligative properties. B says applying a pressure across a semi-permeable membrane to force pure water across. This is referring to osmotic pressure, which is colligative. So far, A and B is not what we're looking for. C says adding lots of salts to ice to lower its freezing point when making ice cream. So lowering the freezing point is freezing point depression. That is a colligative property. Finally, we have D. D says water boiling at 75 degrees instead of 100 degrees Celsius, high in the Himalayan mountains. Now, this is interesting. This is not a colligative property. Water boiling at 75 degrees Celsius, high in the mountains, happens because the external pressure is lower. So the pure liquid vapor pressure equals the surroundings at a lower temperature. No solute is involved here. So this is not a colligative property. This is not describing something that is related to colligative properties. The correct answer is therefore choice D. The second problem says, what is the new freezing point when 58 grams of sodium chloride are added to 500 grams of water, given that the Kf value for water is equal to 2? So this is a freezing point depression problem. That means we're going to use our equation delta Tf equals I multiplied by Kf multiplied by M. And when we calculate that, we're going to take the value delta Tf and subtract that drop from the pure freezing point of water. First thing we want to do is we want to convert the solute mass to moles so that we can get molality. Moles of sodium chloride equals 58 grams divided by 58.44 grams per mole, which is equal to 0.993 moles. The solvent mass is 500 grams, which is 0.5 kilograms. Now we can calculate molality. Molality equals 0.993 mole divided by 0.5 kilogram, which is 1.986. For sodium chloride in water, we're going to take the Van Hoff factor I equal to 2, since sodium chloride dissociates to 2 ions ideally. Then we're going to plug things into our freezing equation. Delta Tf equals I times Kf times M, and that is equal to 2 times 2 times 1.986. And this gives us 7.94 degrees Celsius. With that, we can now find the new freezing point. That's going to be equal to the pure value, which is 0 degrees Celsius, minus 7.94 degrees Celsius. So the solution now freezes at about negative 7.9 degrees Celsius. With that, we can move into our last and final problem for this lecture. This problem says, assuming standard conditions and given that Kf is equal to 2 and Kb is equal to 0.5 for water, what would be the freezing point for a solution of sugar water that boiled at 374.5 Kelvin? Recall that the normal boiling point for water is 373 Kelvin. The data and information about boiling here is going to tell us the solute concentration. So we're going to first use boiling point elevation to find the molality, and then we're going to use that same molality in the freezing point depression equation. So now the elevation in boiling temperature is delta Tb, and that is equal to 374.5 Kelvin minus 373 Kelvin. That is equal to 1.5 Kelvin. For our sugar water solution, for the sugar itself, the Van Hoff factor I equals 1 because it's not going to dissociate. From here, we can solve for molality by rearranging the equation for boiling point elevation to solve for lowercase m, to solve for molality. This gives us that molality m equals delta Tb divided by Kb. I is not in there because I is 1, so we just went ahead and removed it. Anything multiplied by 1 is 1. Anything divided by 1 is that number, all right? And this is going to give us 1.5 divided by 0.5. That is equal to 3. That is our molality value. Next, we're going to use that concentration in the freezing equation. We know that for freezing point depression, delta Tf, that is equal to I multiplied by Kf multiplied by M. And that is equal to 1 times 2 times 3. That gives us that delta Tf equals 6 Kelvin. Finally, we can calculate the new freezing point. Water alone freezes at 0 degrees Celsius or 273 Kelvin. To obtain the freezing point for a sugar solution, we're going to have to calculate 273 Kelvin minus 6 Kelvin, which is equal to 267 Kelvin or negative 6 degrees Celsius. With that, we've completed this lecture. I hope it helps. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns down below. Other than that, good luck, happy studying, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.